Take us through, like, how did you first come up with this idea, and what made you think, like, maybe we can actually succeed and get to Donald Trump on Air Force One?
Well, my producer, Royce, who is also my manager, who was my campaign manager when I was trying to be the senator of the great state of California. I did that after Trump became president, and
Right.
I was just like, you know what? If he's gonna,
I'm gonna run.
Yeah, if a reality star became president, then heck, I can too. I can be a senator at least. I mean, can you imagine that filibuster?
How amazing would you have been on the floor of the Senate? People would tune in. They'd be like, Stuttering John's coming up there.
I'd put Ted Cruz to shame. And I wouldn't need Dr. Seuss.
No, that would be remarkable. So you said, so what happened? Like, you come up with this idea, you and Royce, and let's call the president?
Casey Armstrong, an old Stern alumni, he was supposed to be our guest. He said he was too busy, which is more unbelievable than getting in touch with the president, is that Casey was too busy. But then we were like, we had no guests. So Royce was like, let's just call the president. I go, yeah. I used to hang out with Donald.
Right.
So,
you knew him from the day of the show?
So he used to give me real estate advice.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. So, so we're like, all right. So we picked up the phone and we Googled White House phone number, called the number. I called as me first. I said, hey, I'm Stuttering John. She goes, who? I go, Stuttering John. Donald knows me. And she hung up.
Oh.
So then Royce was like, how about we call us Menendez instead of Melendez? We'll change one letter, like in my cousin Vinny, Callow and Gallo.
Right.
And
it's Senator Melendez from New Jersey.
Yeah. So we called back, and Dean, I did the worst English accent known to man.
English? Like British type of?
Yeah, like British accent. I mean, it's like...
So in your mind, Bob Menendez from New Jersey has a British accent?
No. I call as the assistant.
Oh!
Worst English accent. It's like worse than Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap. I mean, it really
Can you give us a little bit of it?
What? Yes. I go, yes, hello. This is Sean Moore. They go, who? I go, Sean as in Connery, Moore as in Roger. I'm a big Bond fan.
No, did you really do that? Like that? Just like that?
Yeah, but
it's like Mary Poppins type. It's like, please, more pudding, sir.
Yeah, Oliver.
What? You want more? I can't believe this. So you call up as Sean Connery / Roger Moore.
Yeah, Sean Moore, and I say I'm a big Bond fan, which, I mean, what did I name myself? When I was a baby, I said, anyway, so... I said, I'm calling for Senator Bob Menendez. They said, okay, the president's in Fargo, North Dakota right now. I'm like, they just gave me his location, some stranger on the phone. They might as well give me his longitude and latitude. So then they call me back. Dean, this is the only screening, the only thing they did. They called me back and they said, well, Mr. Moore, we just want to know if you're Bob Menendez's assistant, he's a Jersey senator, why is your area code 818? And I go, it's because we're on holiday.
Oh, my God.
And they go, okay, as if my area code would change.
We have the holiday phone. It's a special holiday phone.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins has a holiday phone. So, all right, so you do this, and then what's next?
Then, we end the podcast. I go home, take a shower, which was even more unbelievable.
If you look at John, he doesn't shower much. Go ahead, so good.
I take the shower, and then I get in a suit because I'm on the way to a date in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
And I'm driving to the date, and then suddenly I get a call from Jared Kushner from Air Force One. And I know it's Air Force One because it's like 202, and the last four digits are 0000. I mean, this is it says Washington, D.C., and, it's Jared because he has the high-pitched voice. How you doing, Jared? And
did you do the British back to him, or at this point?
No. Now I was me, and I'm like, this is Senator Bobman, and there's he goes, well, I could pull Donald out of a meeting now on Air Force One, or we can call you back. I said, oh no, just call back. He goes, okay, but what did you want to speak to him about? I pull this out of my butt, Dean. I go, well, we had a long conversation 3 weeks ago about immigration reform, and I wanted some closure on it. And he goes, oh, okay, well, so we'll call you back in like 20 minutes. I hang up. I call my friend in New York because I don't know how to tape it from L.A.
Oh, that's right. You got to record it.
Yeah, so then 15 minutes later, Donald Trump's assistant, they call up, we have the president. I go, yes, let me just get him on. I call my friend. Senator, are you there? He goes, yes, and that's our code that he's taping, and then boom, And then I had a 5-minute conversation with the president about policy.
And didn't he say, we should pull up the audio. I should have pulled the audio. I didn't think about this. If I remember correctly, he said things about like, hey, it's good you didn't get convicted in that trial type of thing.
I think that's why he wanted to talk to me because, he's a crook. Mm-hmm. So I think he wanted to hey, a fellow crook got off. Right. So it was almost like the mob saying, hey, you did it.
Right. I had Senator Melendez on my show about a month ago, and I brought up, I said, so I heard you've been calling Donald Trump up and something like that. He actually had a good sense of humor about it and everything. So I said, is this Senator Melendez or Stuttering John? When he called in, and he laughed at that. So
I was so mad because I called Trish. Do you know Trish, his assistant? Senator Bob Melendez's assistant is Trish.
We didn't deal. I can't remember the name of the. No, we didn't deal with it. Trish. We may have dealt with it, Trish, but
because I was trying to get Senator Bob Melendez. I'm like, Trish, come on! I put his name on the map for the last 3 weeks. I mean, at least have him call in, but he didn't call in.
Oh, for your podcast.
Yeah.
Well, now that he won re-election, in New Jersey, people are like, you think he might lose? I'm like, he was indicted. He didn't get convicted. This is Jersey. Indictment's like, hey, look, he didn't get convicted. You got to give him something for that.
It fell off a truck.
That's right. Things happen. So after got a lot of press, you have this conversation with Trump. You got through. I remember you tweeting something about Secret Service. Yeah. What happened?
Well, so after we celebrated, you got to remember, after the phone call, no one believed us. I couldn't get any press. I mean, I was calling. I DM'd Bob Seska, from
sure, no Bob,
also on the Steffi Mills show, and he didn't get back to me.
Wow.
I even Eric Bollert, he didn't get back to me. I should have emailed
you. Why? I mean, you went all the way down the list there. You're like random people.
And then I finally contacted Adam S. Levy from the Daily Mail, and I said, "Look, this happened. It's real." And then he ran with it. But he called it a hoax. But then Politico came out and report they had an insider, in the administration telling Politico that the White House is scrambling to figure out how the hell this happened.
Wow.
And that's when CNN and then Inside Edition, CBS, NBC, Fox all picked up on the story. So anyway, so then I'm at the pub. I'm celebrating, having a few pints with my manager. And then I get home. There's 2 kids in front of my door. They're like, John, the Secret Service was just here banging on your door. I'm like, what? I go, how do you know they were Secret Service? They're like, they showed their badges.
It's like, we are Secret Service.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I knew I was in trouble. I called Avenatti.
You did? Michael Avenatti?
Yeah.
Did you know him already?
No, but I just figured he had to be a fan.
Right.
And he was. And he loves to screw with Trump. So he said, if they contact you again, just let me know. They called my agent, which is even more unbelievable than KC being busy, me taking a shower, and me getting through the president.
Right.
And my agent called me.
Right. I know the feeling.
Yes. And she said that the president, the Secret Service is trying to talk to me. I called them back. They said that they want me to come there the next morning, which was a Monday. I said, I certainly will. I said, but is it to interview me or to arrest me? And they said, we can't tell you that.
What?
Yeah. And I said, well, should I bring in an attorney? They said, that's up to you. Then I called Avenatti. He said, you're not going. I'm calling him. And then he spoke to them. He said to them, are you going to arrest my client? They said no. He said, will you put that in writing? They said no. And he said, well, then he's not talking to you. And that was it. And
they never came back to talk to you?
No, because then Omarosa happened, and then,
Oh, my God, they got so many distractions that they're like, phone call, that was like so long ago.
But Kathy Griffin called me, and she was like, you crazy bastard.
Kathy Griffin saying you're crazy bastard. That's kind of funny. I remember, I DM'd you. I'm like, that was great what you did. It was we played the clip when it came out on the show here, and I thought that was great work. It's remarkable you got through to Donald Trump on Air Force One.
Yeah. No, it really, you know what my manager said, it's like, it's so weird. You'd put 15 years into Stern. That was your first entertainment, you're a pillar in your life. And then you're on the Tonight Show for 10 years as a stutterer, as the announcer and staff writer. That's your next pillar. And now just by one phone call, that's your next pillar. It's like I was they were doing stories on television in England, France, Germany, Japan, Denmark, everywhere, about Stuttering John, the comedian that pranked the president.
It's a remarkable story. And I'm still chatting with John Melendez, who's known as Stuttering John. So let's talk about your book. Is easy for you to say. And I read some of it. I wish I had more time. I would have read all of it, to be honest. It's a really good book. It's very interesting. And I love like the beginning of the book that this is my amazing story.
Yeah.
And it truly is, and that you sum up what you did, that you were a guy who was bullied, you stuttered, you had OCD, and you ended up the announcer on The Tonight Show, and so much more you've done. Are you even amazed when you look back at your life?
I don't know about you, Dean, but like you don't, like you try not to look back, but like as I had to while I'm writing this book.
Sure.
And I'm like, wow, I've had 2 record deals, one with Atlantic. I had Sting in my MTV video and with Gene Simmons. I opened for Ozzy. I guest starred in Wings. I wrote and sold my own movie to National Lampoon. You know what I mean? I was in Dude, Where's My Car? And,
right.
And Airheads. My songs are the soundtrack of Airheads. And, I boxed in front of 4,000 sold out people at the Taj Mahal and won against a guy who was 260 pounds, 6'2", an ex-army lunatic.
Wow.
And I trained and I won. And I became a stand-up comic, even though I had a fear of stuttering, and I just managed to be, I think, and you'll see a constant in the book, and it's just a message that, anybody can be whatever they want, and you can't ever believe in the word can't. You just that's the one word. Don't ever buy into the word can't. And also that little voice, and I'm sure you have it, Dean. You're a comic, right?
Right.
I'm sure you have that little voice in your head that says, you stink. And you can't
it's
buy
usually
it.
the audience.
Yeah,
It's really loud.
It's usually
They
my
yelled at
parents.
me. That's what you stink. Get out of here. You're the worst.
Yeah, but
Go
you
ahead.
can't buy into that.
No, the little voice. My long-term girlfriend. I live with her forever. We're married.
Yeah.
But she went to Tony Robbins' thing, and he talked about the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough. And a lot of people have that, especially if you go into any field that's really, it's either creative or it's unstable. And it's a question of, are you good enough? Or in your voice you're hearing, I'm too old now, or I'm too young, or I'm not good looking enough, or I'm not whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're holding yourself back. And his whole thing was, you walk on coals, give me a bunch of money. But at the end of the day, that you have to believe, you got to change the voice in your head to be one that supports you. And it actually has changed people's lives. It really has helped them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know why this teacher played this, but my therapist, when I was going through divorce, I went and got a therapist, and she was telling me I should do affirmations and all this stuff.
Sure.
But then when I went to my son's school, he played a therapist / comic, but it was really a therapist.
Right.
On stage, who's saying that if you write that, it's really cool. And anyone can email me, and I'll give them the link. But if you write all these positive things and all the things that you've accomplished, all the nice things people have done for you, like every single day for I forget how many days, 80 days or whatever it is, you could reprogram your brain to get rid of that negative. Because, that's one of the things with Howard. He was the voice in my head. He would call me a loser all the time. He would say, I'm a no
But
talent.
was he joking, though?
No, that's how he really would feel.
But he kept you there for you were like 14. How many years were you with Howard? 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. But look.
But he couldn't really believe you were no talent.
There's a reason why Fred has no self-esteem. There's a reason why
I've seen
Gary
Fred
has
in the
no
room.
self-esteem. When you have Howard telling you what a loser you're on, the only reason that you're successful is because of him. That plays into that little voice in your head.
My producer tells the same thing to me all the time. He's like, the only reason you're on the show, that. I'll get rid of it. That's Matt looking at me. No, but I wonder when you hear people say that clearly, and I don't want to get into a debate about Howard. That's not what it's about.
No, and I'm not here to trash him.
But and because his place is right down the hall.
No,
here,
I know that.
But sometimes, did you think that? Because when someone says it all the time, but they're employing you for 15 years and you're on air and you're part of this team that's successful, that they don't mean it sincerely. They're doing it for whatever reason, either to make themselves feel good, or to push you, or it's a game and it's just.
All right,
being
Dean,
playful.
let me ask you a question. Do you have children?
No.
Okay. When my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and this is not to bash out, this is the truth. He said it on the air. He said, John, you should abort the baby. You're not fit to be a father. He said the same thing to my wife while she was 8 months pregnant at his birthday show. Now, all I'm going to say to you, Dean...
But it sounds horrible, but was it said? Like, his sense of humor is way out there.
It doesn't matter. But no, see, that's the thing. The real Howard is the guy on the air. See, that's the thing that you don't understand. off the like people always say to me, is Howard a good guy off the air? I'm like, he's a great guy off the air. And they'll go, oh, so on the air is all an act. I'll say, no, off the air is all an act. Because the real guy is that guy who can say whatever he wants. Like he can say whatever he feels.
Comedians.
The guy that's off the air, he's too afraid to be himself. He's not going to put you down.
I thought it was interesting in your book you mentioned Mitch Fattel, who I haven't seen Mitch in years. He's a really funny comedian, great comedian.
He's great.
Because we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want to talk about how you first got hooked up with Howard Stern and comedian Mitch Fattel, who should be actually more famous than he is. He's a great comic.
Yeah, he almost kind of fell off the map.
He did, because he was on the way up. He was doing stuff for The Tonight Show. He was like a correspondent for them. And I would see him in the clubs in New York, and I knew him a little, but he would go on and kill.
He's the one that got me the job on the Stern Show.
I tell you, I read I read as much as I could of the book, and I had time, and I thought it was a really interesting book. So again, John's book is easy for you to say. Doesn't hold back at all. It's a truth. It's a remarkable story. But let's take a break, come back, and chat more with Stuttering John right here on the Dino Bidala Show. You're listening to the Dino Bidala Show, where we crush Trump's lies every single day.
On Sirius XM Progress 127. The biggest stories of the day. Right now. This is the Dino Bidala Show.
On Sirius XM Progress 127.
And welcome back, Dino Bidala Show. We're live right here in studio, telling stories in the commercial we can't tell on air. Stuttering John Melendez, his new book out, easy for you to say, which would be a great book for the holidays for people who like Howard Stern Show, like you, to hear so much about behind the scenes.
And Dean, I'm not going to say what we were talking about off the air, but I will say, I swear on my life, it's entirely true.
I believe everything you're saying.
And I say that because everything in the book, entirely true. which is why I don't worry about Chelsea Handler or Howard or anybody else suing me, because it's all true and can be corroborated.
The defense is truth, right? To all of us.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued, and I'm sure others who watch you on Howard, listen to you on Howard, but watched you over the years. Like, you came in with a distinct stutter that was hard to understand you at times. You would go out and do stuff. Now, like, you're fabulous. Like, what did you do?
That's why I drink beer.
And he literally, folks, if you're on Facebook Live, you can see he is drinking beer. I'm not kidding. Are you joking around, or does alcohol in some way reduce any anxiety, and that's what it was about?
You know what, Dean? I swear, like, when I was in look, I've always stuttered. Always. Okay. I mean, I remember in 6th grade, the speech therapist, her idea of speech therapy was putting this 5 or 6 stutterers in one room and having us call information. For those who don't know what that is, that's when you would call 411 and, so we would have to call information and ask for our phone number. Now, here's the problem. I stuttered on M's. I had to ask for Melendez on Margaret Road in Massapequa. And I would watch the other stutterers go through it, stuttering their, heads off, and I would be sitting there sweating bullets. It was like the stuttering Inquisition. And what the irony or whatever, whatever the word is, I always get irony
we'll use
wrong.
Irony. Why not? We all use it whenever you don't know what to say.
Yeah, just ask Alanis Morissette.
Sounds irony, right?
Yeah.
Sounds ironic.
But is that I watched the King's speech, which is what, from 1920s or 19...
Well, right around, from 20, but right before World War II, and World War II is the big time that he had to deal and give that famous speech.
But the King's speech, that therapist knew all the tricks I use now. Now, I had to figure those tricks out the King's speech wasn't around then for me. So it's just amazing that therapist knew. What the hell happened to these speech therapists now? Which is why I mentor kids across the country.
You do?
Yeah, there's a story in my book. Have you got to the Conroy?
No.
If you get to the Conroy Arnold, story, if you want, I'll just tell you.
Sure.
I'll tell. It'll take a minute.
Sure.
But for anybody listening, this is one of my favorite stories in the book, and it's a positive story.
Good.
It's nothing bad. But when I was first on the Stern Show, my second or third year in, I get a call from a teacher in Manhattan. And she said, John, we have this kid. His name is Conroy Arnold. It's African-American. He's like 15, 16-year-old kid. He stutters really bad. He looks up to you. You're an inspiration. Do you mind speaking to him? I said, of course. You have him come to my office. The kid comes into the office I was occupying. And I'm telling you, Dean, he stutters so bad I had tears in my eyes. Because it breaks my heart. It really does. So, I asked him what he's going to do that night. He says he has a date. He's taking this girl he really likes in the movies. And I pull this out of my butt. I'm a pragmatist. Is that what the word
Sure.
is? And I just said, Conroy, do me a favor. Bring yourself a notebook and a pen. This way, if you can't speak, at least you can write things down and you'll be able to communicate. And maybe by having that crutch, it'll alleviate the pressure to be able to speak, and it might make you speak more fluently. That's it. He leaves my office. Dean, I don't see the guy again for 12, 13 years. When I give my notice, Howard and I all go to celebrate in Atlantic City. So we go to the Borgata at like the most expensive, high-class restaurant there. That was a stutter.
Okay.
So we go to the restaurant, and we're done with dinner. And the waitress comes up to me. She goes, John, do you mind speaking to our head chef? I go, sure. What's his name? Conroy Arnold. Dean.
You remember the name?
Yeah. This guy comes out. Great looking, tall dude. Does not stutter once.
Wow.
And we're talking for a while. I go, Conroy, what happened to your stutter? He goes, John, I still carry around that notebook and pen to this day.
Wow. Look at that, John. Look what you did.
Yeah, how crazy. How crazy is that? And he goes, now I don't need it for speech. I read all my recipes. And the funny part of the story is, and this is true too, I said, Conroy, did you get lucky that night? And he goes, yeah. I go, geez, I got to start carrying around a notebook and a pen.
What's a great story. So you've gone, I didn't even think about this, the fact that for kids who are Howard fans and you're a stutterer and if they were a stutterer, they would see you not as a stutterer, but as a role model, an inspiration on some level. It not even occurred to me until just now you're saying that.
Yeah.
Did you hear that a lot from people?
Well, that's a weird thing, Dean. I swear to you, like when I got the job, like look, a lot of things. I was the keynote speaker at the National Stuttering Association convention, where I talked to a lot of children. I mean, I was like 500 adults and kids, and and I gave them all my secrets. And get back beer. At the end, I said, and if all else fails, have a few beers. It'll take the edge off. It does work, which is why I have 2-3 beers before I go on stage.
All the time?
Yeah, but
no, I know many comics who do that. I understand.
Yeah. But it didn't occur to me that I was like, because the thing I tell them is, stuttering is not who you are. It's just something that you do.
Right.
Don't let it, And another,
coming from a guy named Stuttering John, you name yourself after it. But
that's the other thing I say. And do yourself a favor. Take the pressure off yourself. If you meet someone, if you're at a restaurant, or if you're talking to someone for the first time, the first thing you say is, "Hey, I'm a stutterer." That alleviates so much pressure and so much tension that now if you stutter, it's like, "Hey, there it is."
Right.
And it takes so much pressure off you.
So it's part of for people, and I don't want to do this like a blanket thing like everyone does this, but for some stutterers, it's the tension and the stress or the anxiety of whatever situation or whatever they're doing. And if you remove that, it goes to a calmer place where you can just speak your mind and there's no problems.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, it helps. It helps in all. It'll take at least 50% of the stress off you. And then you got to learn to laugh at yourself. Look, right. Dean, you're I'm sure you're self-deprecating on stage.
Oh, of course. I'm self-deprecating here on my show. In real life, it's what I do. I can't help myself.
No, I am too. I mean, I'm a goofball. I get it. But that's what we do.
When I used to host on my first show on this channel was hosting Saturday morning. It wasn't on this channel. It was on Insight, a different channel, 10 a.m. to noon. And I would joke like, no one's listening. I know it, right? Just that was my style until somebody who was a higher up heard. They go, stop saying that. They go, we know you're being self-deprecating, but it doesn't sound good on radio. I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of radio that you want to make it seem like it's going well and not like nobody's calling because clearly no one's listening to this show right now. And I was making fun of myself and they're like, stop.
But getting back to it did not occur to me then that, wow, by me being the announcer was going to inspire so many other stutterers, but it did. I mean, and that it didn't occur to me at the time, but now I'm like so happy that because a lot of Stern fans will be, why'd you leave? And like you shouldn't have left this, this. But besides all the other reasons, more money. I always wanted to be in television. That's what I went to NYU for. That was and I'd done Howard for 15 years. It was time to try something different. Besides all that, it's really cool to inspire those who also suffer from this disability.
I could not agree with you more, John. And I say with all sincerity, that's a great thing you're doing. And it does inspire people. And people don't get it if you don't come from whatever marginalized community. It's often talked about for people of like I'm Muslim, or Muslims or something. But for someone like yourself who's a stutterer and you succeed and other stutterers see it and they go like, wow, look, he did it. He overcame it. And he's successful. And by the way, you have a picture I saw with Jackie the Joke Man recently. I've met him a couple of times on John Fugelsang's show. Do you know John?
I'm doing his show tomorrow.
Oh, John, I was going to say, if you weren't, I would put you. Of course you know John. You know him from Stephanie's show. He's a great guy. Jackie, what a nice guy that guy is.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Do you keep in touch with him?
Yeah, Jackie, myself, and Billy just did a special that we had a professional television crew shoot. That hopefully we'll have a big announcement soon. But
I hope that works out. I remember the last time I saw Jack, he was on John's show, and he was doing a show, and I stuck my head in because I was at Broadway Comedy Club downstairs. He was upstairs where he had a wheel that he'd spin, and you'd spin the wheel, and then he would tell a dirty joke wherever it landed, like all these different dirty jokes on this wheel, like an amusement wheel that you spin. Like, okay, like you don't need that prompting. You can just tell him, Jackie, but he just wants, it was funny. So let's talk about, you go on, then here you are, a guy, had a stutter, did well with it, overcame it, successful, and then you're offered the announcer job, which is the irony. Here's irony, I think. Yeah. A guy named Stuttering John offering to be the announcer of The Tonight Show, the biggest show on late night.
What the heck is wrong with him? That's like entrusting Charlie Sheen with your Coke.
So when they first came to you, did you have to audition for The Tonight Show?
Yeah. In fact, I flew out once, unknown, unbeknownst to the Stern Show, I couldn't tell, and I auditioned as a correspondent to show that I was funny enough to do that.
Right.
Then they worried that I would stutter during the announce, so I was out doing like stand up at the Ontario Improv or the Irvine Improv, and they had me come in, and I did like 30 announces, and and I proved to them that I would not stutter. But you got to understand, like just like Carly Simon and Mel Tillis, there's no way that you could stutter doing the announce. It's like singing. It's a Tonight Show with Jay Leno. It's impossible. It would never happen in a million years.
I forgot about Mel Tillis being a famous stutterer, but when he sang...
No, yeah.
Why is that?
It's just the way that your throat opens, and it's just a physiological thing. Stuttering is not all what everyone thinks is a mental, a disorder. There's a lot of physiological things going on.
Oh, that's interesting, because I didn't know. I thought it was more about, like, anxiety issues or whatever, but it also makes sense to me that it's physiological as well. So never had a problem all the 10 years. What was it like working with Jay? But I had friends who worked on the staff. Well, T-Shawn Shannon, do you know T-Shawn?
No, he left before me.
But you know T-Shawn.
I heard so many stories of him dressed as the bear.
I know him from SNL, but he was a staff writer there. So what was it like working with Jay all those years?
Jay is one of the nicest people in the world. Quirky, he has OCD like I do. I mean, he would touch the walls every time he make a joke on, like on the set. He would tap his desk.
Wow!
And I'll tell you a real cruel story. It's from my fellow New Yorker friend who was also a writer there, Anthony Koleka. And it's in the book. But Jay had to touch a certain doorknob before he walked on stage. So Anthony, and it was his OCD, he had to touch that doorknob.
Sure.
So Anthony thought it would be funny to stand in front of that doorknob. So I'm announcing him, and now, Jay Leno. And Anthony's standing in front of the doorknob, and Jay is looking at Anthony in panic, like sweat pouring from his forehead. And he can't get to the doorknob. He finally just reaches around Anthony's back with his huge, humongous head right next to Anthony's and touches the doorknob and then runs on stage.
But you do you still deal with OCD issues? You talk about your book.
Yeah, I have it bad, man.
You do?
Oh, yeah, like even coming here, like, you got to count your steps and, I have it bad. But, I mean,
Is it under control, though? Does it hold you back from things?
I take Luvox and Klonopin. That's kind of like, I would talk to Howie Mandel on the Tonight Show, like, all the time. And, about what medications we were on.
Right, because Howie's got some issues.
Oh, yeah, he's got it. Like, he goes to a hotel when Howie's on tour.
Right.
He's got to put towels down from his bed all the way to the shower.
I do that too. The places are filthy where I stay.
Oh, really? And then I think he showers in. He doesn't take off his socks. I mean, he doesn't want to touch anything.
Oh,
like on the floor.
That's different. Okay, I see that different.
Like he doesn't want to touch the floor. But he's got it bad too. And Jay has it. Put it this way, Jay. This is a great Jay story if you want to hear.
Sure, of course.
Jay, I guess in the so many years that he was he hosted it for 22 years. Like he would bang his head, like just like not out of like
Sure.
being angry, but like he would lean back on his chair, he'd hit the wall, and with that 2-ton head, he would put a hole in the wall.
Wow.
So one time he was on hiatus, and the producer thought, let's fix Jay's wall, let's take out that sheetrock,
right,
and put in a new piece of sheetrock. Jay gets in after hiatus and sees a new wall. He's like, I don't want that wall. Where's the wall with the head thing in there? Go get that sheetrock back. And they had to go get the sheetrock back.
And put it back on?
Yeah, put it back on.
And that's just part of his OCD. It's all his comfort level.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's remarkable. I didn't know that about Jay. All right, so let's take a quick break. We're going to come back more with Stuttering John, talk about his great book, Easy for You to Say, which is available now. Great book for the holidays. Whatever holiday you celebrate, it's a great book. Be right back with more of the Dino Bidala Show right after this. Look, it's time the media start calling out Trump's false statements for what they are. Lies. Trump is a liar. And by the looks of it, he's lying every day and twice on Sundays.
The Dino Bidala Show. New perspectives, important voices, influential ideas. This is the Dean Obadala Show on SiriusXM Progress 127.
And welcome back, Dean Obadala Show. We're live Thursday, November 15th. John's laughing because he's watching Donald Trump on TV, and we were telling in the break that obviously over the years when Stuttering John was working on Howard's show, Donald Trump came on a lot, and you got to know Donald Trump. What was he like before? And this is not about politics, folks. I don't want anyone to get upset. This is the human being, Donald Trump. It's a sharp contrast to today, as John will make that point. So what was he like in the old days?
Well, that's the thing. There's the conundrum again. There's the conflict. Because when I knew Donald, what I was telling you, Dean, I was doing interviews out front in Trump Plaza, and he saw me, and he asked me what I was doing, that weekend. I said I was taking my girlfriend out to Atlantic City. He put me up at the Taj. Everything paid for, dinner, massages, and, I would call him for real estate advice, and he'd be there with his calculator and telling me how much per square foot, if I should do it or not. I mean, I had lunch with him. I had dinner with him. I mean, I boxed at his place. He came backstage and wished me luck. I flew in his helicopter. He couldn't have been a nicer guy, which is why it's so hard for me to see what he has become.
Right.
And, it's just... and to Howard's credit, I think he said this, that why does Donald why would he want to be president? I think he wanted to lose.
Well, I think there's some theory of that, but it's interesting because on Twitter, John is really very, very extremely critical of Donald Trump. And it's like it's a different human being, it seems, from the way you describe, who almost seems to be warm and caring. Maybe because you were a celebrity and you were attached to Howard and he liked the celebrity. Perhaps that's it. Perhaps he really was different because he really just seems like to enjoy being cruel and mean now.
Well, the weirdest thing is Melania's big, how every first lady has a thing. Her big thing is anti-bullying. Right. Well, start with your husband, Melania. He's the biggest bully in the world. Just ask little Marco and low energy Jeb.
He was not. I mean, he is. That's what he's about. And I don't know if he was not like that before. And I wonder if he was on different behavior because he was with celebrities and you're a celebrity and Howard's celebrity. Is that what it was? Or was it truly he evolved as a person? He got older, he got meaner.
It could be. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he was always that way when it came to this is going really inside baseball, but when he and AJ Benza would fight on the Stern Show, he would hit below the belt. And,
he would. He would be mean.
He would be mean, but he was never mean to me.
Right.
But because of his policies and, the things that he's doing, I take it personally. Because, look, my oldest son is transgender.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and he's trying to ban transgender from the military. Here's a guy who had 5 deferments for heel spurs, and he's going to ban a certain, percentage of people who want to actually serve the country, who aren't afraid to go to war like you, Donald.
And he famously said, and I don't know if you worked at Howard at the time, when Trump said my Vietnam was not getting STDs in the 1980s. So he avoided the war and sort of made fun of the whole idea of Vietnam when he could have went to Vietnam, but he didn't. And then now he's the healthiest guy in the world who somehow got healthier as he got older. I call him the Benjamin Button of presidents.
No. Have you seen the doctor who said he was the healthiest?
Yeah, that guy.
It was like Dr. Big Lebowski. Did you see him with the puka shells? Puka shells on his head. But here's it. Look, here's a guy who says he supports the military. And this is something that bothers me. And, my good buddy that I grew up with is a Coast Guard helicopter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who rescues people in hurricanes in a helicopter.
Right.
Donald Trump's in France, supposed to go to that World War I thing, and he says that it's raining and he can't be there. The helicopter can't fly through the rain. I just flew through a snowstorm. I'm like, what? That is BS, Dean.
I'm with you, buddy. I mean, I don't want to drive because it causes traffic. You don't care about traffic. He doesn't care about anything but himself.
Yes.
He wanted to stay home. He's at the U.S. ambassadors and is watch TV and tweet about Fox News and do his bullshit.
But how about the Arlington Cemetery thing?
And he was literally 5 minutes, 5-minute drive.
It's raining. Is he going to melt?
He's the devil.
Is it the hair? It's got to be the hair. Well, we all know he can't work an umbrella. Did you see him working up the steps to Air Force One with the umbrella? He didn't know how to close an umbrella.
So what were you political before Trump, or did Trump bring this out in you because you're seeing things like you never saw before?
Oh no! When I was a kid, I would tell my father who to vote for.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I was always.
So you were following politics. You talked about.
Yeah, and that's why I get a lot of flack from, and for some reason there are a lot of stern, people who are Donald Trump supporters.
I can see that.
And look, if you don't like my team, that's fine. You don't have to hate on me, but I get it. There are trolls out there, but I don't know what the heck is going on here.
So, all right. So you're out now here in New York. You're doing a book thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just forgot to say.
Go ahead.
Is that they say to me, "Oh, Hollywood just made me all liberal." I've been a liberal since I was 10 years old.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about, Hollywood now, you're out, you've got this new book. It's out, easy for you to say. You're doing a book event here in New York coming up and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow night I'm at the Broadway Comedy Club.
Broadway Comedy Club right here, 53rd
Al
and
Martin's
8th.
place.
I know Al well.
Al is the one. Al is one of my angels.
He's a great guy. Al, I used to work all the time.
I will tell you just a quick story.
Sure.
I'm afraid that I'm going to stutter, but I finally have an epiphany. If I can ask celebrities about the bowel movements, I can get on stage, But I was afraid I would stutter on every joke.
Sure.
I do Al Martin's club, the New York Comedy Club.
Right.
Dean, I have my wife there. I do have a 5-minute set. I stutter every single joke.
Wow.
It was so sad. I was stuttering. It was like Conroy Arnold. I was stuttering so badly.
Right.
And I got off dejected. And then Al Martin said, I have another stage. You're going on in 5 minutes to do the same act. And I did. And guess what? I didn't think about it. Boom. I got laughs. And then I knew I could do this. And that's why I'm so happy to be at Al Martin's Club. I don't know if you know Mike Boschetti.
I know Mike very well. I know Mike for 20 years.
I love Mike.
Guy.
He's going to do it. And do you know Modi?
Modi, yeah, I know Modi. I haven't seen him in a while.
He's awesome. He's going to be there. Steve Grillo's going to be there from the show. Hopefully, if you want, come by.
Tomorrow night? Oh, it's Friday night? Maybe. What time's the show?
8 o'clock.
I'm not. All right. Well maybe.
I think Opie's going to be there from Opie and Anthony. I mean, if anybody, just come by. I have books to sign and everything else.
So are you going on a book tour beyond New York? Or are you doing these one-offs? Because you were doing some other stuff I saw earlier.
I did L.A. I might be in Iowa soon. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's available on Amazon. I'm #1 in general broadcasting.
That's great. I don't know who you're competing with. I know you're competing with.
I don't know. Does that mean I sold 10 books? Who knows?
But you're selling books. That's what's out there. What about, how is stand-up going for you? Like, are you out there doing clubs?
I've been everywhere, dude. From New York to El Paso to Massachusetts.
Are you headlining?
Iowa.
Like, what are you doing? Oh, you are? So you're touring.
Oh, yeah. I haven't. Yeah, I'm like, that's another, misnomer. Because Artie Lange, when he was on heroin, he would, he remembers me when I first started.
Sure.
I've been doing it for 18 years now. I'm not, look, I would never say I'm Steve Martin.
Right.
But I'm, I'm a good comic, and there's a reason why, like Harry Basil, I'm headlining the Laugh Factory, in Las Vegas, December 26th to January 2nd. I mean, I've headlined all the clubs.
Oh, that's great. No, I didn't know if you were touring all the time because you were doing so much. You were at The Tonight Show, you're producing and doing other things. No, that's great to hear, my friend. And you worked hard. I remember Artie. I haven't seen Artie in many years now. I probably bumped into him the last time. It was outside of Broadway Comedy Club, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He was hanging out with Joe Matarese, his buddy. You know Matarese?
Yeah,
he loves Matarese. And but I remember when I first started comedy, and Artie was doing it for a little while. We both were in a bringer show, and both of our moms who were Italian. And my mom's talking to Artie Lange's mother, and it was a very funny situation. So Artie, when I would see him, he said, "How's your mom?" Like, my mom's okay. Like, it was like a running thing.
Yeah, Artie's has the biggest heart. And the problem with Artie, though, is he blames himself for his father's death.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and, well, I don't know if you know the story of that. Artie's father fell off, he was a roofer. Mm-hmm. He fell off a roof the day Artie was supposed to show up and help him and like hold the ladder, but Artie was too drunk and hung over. So his father became a quadriplegic. So Artie's always blamed himself for that. And then when he's so angry, all that anger is inside. So when he does heroin or when he drinks, that anger comes out. And I talk a lot of about it in my book.
No, you have that chapter. I saw that on. I didn't know that was the real story. And in fact, in Pete Davidson's TV series on HBO, the name escapes me right now, they deal with that issue. Like it comes up slightly, and I didn't know it was based on reality there. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back a little bit more time here with our friend Stuttering John, right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127. The Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. That's remarkable. We're laughing because of what he was telling. I'm here with Stuttering John Melendez, and his book, he's selling it everywhere. It's on Amazon. Great gift for the holidays. Easy for you to say, talking about his life. You know, near the end of the book, you say you have a chapter, My Charmed Life. What do you think? You look back. Do you feel like it's been charmed?
Oh yeah, I've been so lucky. I mean, I'm so grateful. And you know that's the thing. Like, I'm grateful to Howard. You know,
Sure.
You know, I was a fan of Howard. I'm grateful for him to give me the shot to shine.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm grateful to Jay and all the people. I was just telling you, like, I was on this show, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And, you know, there I am, and it's raining on everybody, and all the celebrities are complaining. Yeah, my dad, you know, he took me camping all the time. We were always in the rain. You know, have you been to campgrounds, Dean?
A couple of times. I'm never a big fan, but I know.
So all these celebrities, Melissa Rivers is yelling for her migraine medication, and Tyson, the model's yelling, and I'm just there in my underwear. It's raining on me, hanging out by the fire, never complaining. People like me, but I'm praying on the cot. Jay Leno's is gonna be goofing on the show, and I could be a guest. Last day, I make it the last day. You know, it was in Australia. I woke up, and my wife tells me that I am booked on the Tonight Show. Dream come true. I fly there in the town car. I'm writing my jokes, and then, you know, I get on, you know, on the stage with Jay. and I kill it. It's so natural and
Right.
so funny, and Jay's loving me, and
Sure.
I'm making him laugh.
Right.
This is Jay Leno, and we're having a great time. And I equate it to it's like being at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
And then you get offered it.
What?
And then you got offered a job.
Yeah, well, I was telling you, it's like the Eminem song, lose yourself in the moment. That was my moment, because as soon as that segment was over, the executive producer and the head writer offered me a job.
That's remarkable, my friend, and that's a great ending to the story. John, it was great seeing you in person here. We always DM, or we used to talk to you when you were on Stephanie Miller's show. And I wish you the best here with New York, and just check him out. He's around the country. What's your website?
Oh, stutteringjohnmelendez.com, and on Twitter at stutteringjohnm.
Check him out when he comes to your town. Go to his comedy. Say hi to Stuttering John. Great meeting, folks. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to the Dean Obeidallah Show.